The fact is, the Alabama state budget depends heavily on federal dollars. We've had a lot of people who say that we can do more for less, which we all know is a fantasy. We have two budgets in Alabama, the education budget and the general fund. And I think everyone knows that the general fund is facing a huge deficit in the coming years. What can we do to plug that deficit? The way we plugged it the last time was that PP money after they poisoned the beaches. How will you address that hole in the budget?
Thank you, Dr. Burke. And it's a very important question because the general fund is the fund of the state that can potentially fund Medicaid expansion. It funds mental health services, which have been crippled in our state. It's the fund that's going to be most likely to help us address the opioid crisis. And year after year, our legislature has done two things that you would never do if you claim to be fiscally conservative. Number one, they've used one-time money that you should never use for operating expenses to plug those holes. And number two, they've used a credit card mentality, which has basically ran up the debt of the state of Alabama. Now, in the city of Tuscaloosa during my time, we have kept the lowest city sales taxes of any city of any size. We went through the tornado of April 27th, which destroyed 12.5% of our city, cash flowed tens of millions of dollars, and never borrowed a dime, and never raised taxes. So when I hear our legislature talk about fiscal conservatism, they actually have it opposite. So what do we do to address it? As part of our plan, and you can go to Maddox.com and see more details in writing, what we would like to do is reach a compact with the Forge Creek Indian. We'd like to go ahead and tax the existing gaming that we have in Alabama that's not being taxed. And I would say that sports gaming is ultimately going to be part of that once Congress works through the details. And we take those dollars, we allocate them into the general fund. We use it to expand Medicaid, which will be a $1.8 billion economic impact on Alabama, create 30,000 new jobs, and preserve nearly 89% of our hospitals in the state that are in the red. And for those of you who think about this, according to the Alabama Hospital Association, which is a nonpartisan organization, they anticipate 12 to 14 hospitals can close over the next 24 months. Now, this question takes more than 2 minutes to answer. I'm just going to draw this line because there's more to it, because I'd love to talk about mental health. I'd love to talk about opioids. But in 2 minutes, I've told you more about how we're going to address these key issues in our state than our governor has in the last 8 months of her campaign in the last year and a half since she's been governor. You deserve, our children deserve, our state deserves more than just Confederate monuments and mountain oysters. And that is why we are going to win on COVID because we are the party of ideas. And it's those ideas, it's their ideas, it's your passion and ideas that are going to truly make this century the Alabama century.